Hi loves and welcome back to Love What Luck. Hope you're all doing well. I've got a top piece of advice for you this week. Do not make decisions when you're feeling sad. Now this might seem obvious, but sometimes I think we can't always tell how sad we are and whether the thoughts we have when we are sad are real. Because this brain sometimes, it'll believe anything that you tell it. So when you are feeling down, if you are feeling really down, depressed, if you're feeling anxious, the thoughts that you tell yourself become real. And if you've got a really serious decision to make, it's really important to make that decision when you're clear-headed and not when you're feeling really down, not when you're in a rut. Picture the scene, for example, this week, right? I should have known something wasn't right, but for whatever reason, I didn't. And I was going about my week as normal. No big changes. The sun was shining. I'm, getting about my day-to-day life. Everything is as it was, except for in here. In my heart, in my soul, your gal was feeling a bit down and overwhelmed. And I cried quite a bit, I would say, like at least 3 days of the week. And the biggest red flag for me should have been when I was on the phone to a colleague on a Teams call in a meeting, and she was asking me stuff and I just felt so overwhelmed. I burst into tears. I listened to a Mel Robbins podcast and she was talking about this thing called decision fatigue. And she said, at the end of the day, when you really don't want to do anything, when you can't be bothered, when you're procrastinating things, when you're going on your phone, you're doom scrolling, she said lots of that is because of decision fatigue. And she said this, we make as a human, we make something like 35,000 decisions a day, like some insane number, right? Which sounds crazy, but also everything we do is a decision, innit? Like what time we're going to brush our teeth, when do we get up, what are we going to wear today, what socks we're going to wear, what knickers we're going to put on. Everything is a little decision. And then obviously then you have more serious decisions. So then by the time the nighttime comes, you're all decisioned out. And what I took from the podcast was that is not the time that you should be speaking to your partner, speaking to your friend about something. You need to do it when you've got the headspace, because I've done that before. I've been really down and thinking one way and wanted to end a relationship, or I've ended a relationship. And then I wake up the next day and I'm like, oh, I don't feel that way anymore. And sometimes the thoughts that you have when you're in that sad place, they have a space in your head and, they are real, but they can be more concerns. But sometimes I think, oh my God, I shit myself then. It was Alexa. Oh, guys, is this something that people with anxiety have, right? My anxiety is not even bad anymore, but obviously I've been prone to it all of my life. I'm the jumpiest person. I was sat at my desk the other day in work. This girl who I know, obviously, I haven't seen her for a good few months, popped her head around my computer. Hi, Sadie, hi, just wanted to say hi. I'm like that. It's as if I'm home alone and she's coming branching a knife at me. She's literally just saying hi. What's that trend? Unfortunately, my nervous system doesn't know the difference between an unexpected hello and being held at gunpoint. What is wrong with me, honestly? Anyway, sorry, getting distracted. To wrap it up, I basically just thought it was a really good piece of advice, because I know we're all making decisions, I think. I think most of my listeners are my age, and I think if you are, you've probably got a lot of serious decisions kind of in your head. Where are you going to live? Are you going to get engaged? Are you going to break up? Are you going to move in together? What job do you want? Do you want to stay in this job? When are you going to have kids? Are you going to have children? Should you have another child? I think they're really big decisions, and there's things that we can do that help those decisions, I think, become more manageable in our brains, right? So for example, one thing to do is make your everyday decisions as easy as possible. And this is something I've started to do. I've been doing it now for about a year, and it's really good, and I can't believe I never used to do it before, right? But I used to wake up, when I was in the office every day, I used to wake up, never know what I was going to wear until I'm looking in my wardrobe. I was always late, every single day, every day at least 15 minutes late. I got called into so many meetings with my own manager, and I was literally basically saying to her, like, there's no way I can be here on time. Firstly, I don't want to be here full stop, and I'm pretty much crying every day coming in, so you're lucky I'm here, is what I wanted to say. But secondly, I'm just so drained, even like in the morning, that like picking an outfit, my head just like wouldn't work fast enough to make the decision. And it sounds stupid, but if your brain works like mine, right, picking your clothes out the night before and putting them on the back of the chair and prepping stuff the night before has made the biggest difference to me. Now when I get up, my bag is packed, it's by the door, ready to go. My stuff to make my smoothie, like the blend and stuff, will already be cleaned. It'll be washed, it'll be plugged in, ready to go. My clothes will be on the back of the chair, or if I'm not going out anyway and I'm going to the gym in the morning, I'll put my workout clothes there. Because when you're doing that at night time, it's not a big deal. Your brain's already open, it's awake. You know, I think also because like you've made so many other big decisions that day, choosing not to wear to the office or wherever doesn't feel like a big deal. So you just do it like without thinking just before bed. Whereas when you wake up and your brain is new and like wondering what's happening with the day, making those decisions, like your brain's, it's just not fully equipped yet. It's not fully awake, you know? And then basically I just started to look into this. And if you've got a really hard decision to make, here are some tips you can follow. Do the research. Consider all possibilities and all outcomes from making that decision. So if you've got a decision whether you want to get with this person and you're a little bit unsure of them, if you're unsure about getting with somebody because you work with them, or, you know, there's like other factors to consider. Do you want to get with them because they go and traveling at the end of the year? You know, do you want to put yourself through that? So ask questions, consider all the different outcomes, imagine it in your head. My friend also tells me now, like if I've got a big decision, she's like, where do you want to be in 5 years, and will this decision get you closer to there? Which I thought's a good question to ask. Make a pros and cons list. Have you ever made a pros and cons list of dating somebody? I have. Did I follow it? I don't know. I can't really remember, but I do remember writing it out. Is that embarrassing to admit? I don't think so. Sometimes you need to see your thoughts and the points written down in front of you in black and white, you know. Number 3, set deadlines and take action, which I think is really good, because if you don't set a deadline on something, if you are prone to overthinking, that can ruin your life. It can absolutely take over, and if you give something too much thought, I think that's what gives you decision fatigue as well. Imagine like your brain is constantly overthinking one decision you need to make. It's not going to have the capacity to deal with much else. So really try and set a deadline, which is so hard coming from an overthinker. The thought that I could just say to myself, okay, you've got to give yourself until the end of the week and then, you know, make a decision and move on. That's a bit scary, but I actually think it makes a lot of sense. And I actually might adopt that over the next few months. So stay tuned. Trust your gut, it says here, always, preach it. We know how much I believe that. And then take action is to actually make the decision, and you've got to try and be content with it, because is there really a wrong decision? I've said this before. Whatever decision you make is going to put you on a certain path, it's going to open a certain door, and I just always feel like whatever door that opens is meant to open for you at that time. And it might not work out forever, but there'll be a reason that it doesn't work out. And that reason will become clear, you know, at the end of everything. Oh, I saw an awful video just now, right? It was a ring door camera, but from inside. So it was like her coming through her front door. And she'd written, like, in speech marks, I didn't realise it hurt you that much. And then she said, me. And she literally gets in, shuts the door, and she, like, falls to her knees. It is so sad. And she's just like lying there, and then the dogs come and try and comfort her, and she's obviously just like heartbroken over something. She doesn't say what, but you know, whatever she has gone through then is going to feel like the end of the world. Like if you go through something really heartbreaking, you feel like there's no way out, but I can guarantee you there's a reason that has happened. And when you get over the sadness and the heartbreak and all the rest of it, And when you start to feel like yourself again, you'll understand why that happened, because you'll be so much better off for it. I really believe that. And then another tip it says is practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself and acknowledge that making hard decisions can be stressful. And it says, don't be afraid to change your mind. If a decision turns out to be wrong, be willing to change your mind and make a new one. And that, I think, is like a proof if you're feeling really sad. If you were then willing to say, right, okay, this hasn't worked out, but now I'm going to go and do something else. That's kind of how life starts to unfold, where you're like, oh, this was meant to happen. Because, you know, like if you've made a decision to move abroad with somebody and then you break up whilst you're abroad, but actually then you think, right, okay, this is awful, but I'm abroad and I want to make the most of it. And then you find a job that you absolutely love there, or, you know, you make like best friends there. Then like, yeah, maybe you could think at one point the decision of moving there was wrong, but ultimately it worked out for the best. And this brought you into, you know, a new decision. Or you make the decision to come home and then you meet the love of your life back home. Just got to be ever the optimist, you know? Can I just indulge you a second, right? One of my worst nightmares is seeing somebody I know in a situation that I'm not comfortable in. It's a very irrational fear, and I'm aware of that, but it feels very real. Top 10 worst moments in my life that I could picture would be being seen by somebody in the gym that I know on a level enough to say hi. I remember working out before. I'm on the Stairmaster. I'm about 10 minutes into my workout before work. A colleague, the worst spot of all for me. A colleague came in and went to the changing rooms. I thought, that's it then. I guess I'm going to go. Literally stepped down off the step machine, went in and changed and went to work. Went to work early and after only doing 10 minutes of a workout, because the thought of being in the gym the same time as a colleague, this is not somebody obviously that I'm super friendly with. You know, if I'm comfortable around you and I talk to you all the time and I see you at the gym, great, get on the Stairmaster next to me. If we have only said, you know, hi before something, I don't want to see you. Another way this comes out is if I go on a first date, one of the worst things for me is the thought of them seeing me and me not seeing them. I can't explain it. I don't know the reason. Because it's not like I'm going to be doing anything weird. It's not like I'm going to be picking my nose and, you know, or like pulling my knickers out of my bum. I'm not going to be doing that. But the thought of somebody watching me and like, I haven't seen them, hell and horror. It's so stupid, but I just can't help it. So imagine my horror yesterday when I get a Teams message from a colleague saying, oh, random one, Beep has been wondering if he saw you at the club the other night. He's convinced it was you, possibly celebrating a birthday or an anniversary. Instantly I knew it was when I went out to my friend's engagement, because I bought her this massive ring balloon, this big helium balloon, because I just thought it was cute and funny, and we carried it around all night. The fact that she said club, I know exactly where we were, because that was at the end of the night, where, to put it lightly, I didn't want to see anybody that I knew even remotely. We were drunk, we were dancing, I was in the DJ booth. I don't know if I told you this last time. I was requesting songs so much that the DJ was like, fair play to him, I loved him. Just come up here and have a look yourself. I'm not only in the DJ booth, I've got the headset on and I'm typing in his computer looking for Shay. The last person on earth I wanted to be on that dance floor was a colleague. Quite frankly, I'd rather it be an ex-boyfriend, because there's just a thing of like somebody that I'm not that comfy with. I think it must stem from with work. Like, I'm not really myself in work because I just feel like I don't belong in the corporate world. And when I'm there, I just don't feel like I can fully be myself. It's like a really weird issue that I have. And I would never act, obviously, that way in work. So it's the thought of somebody seeing me. It's like seeing me in the wild. It's like seeing an animal out in the wild from safari. The fact that he didn't say hi to me also, like, how long were you there for? How long were you watching? What did you see? What did you see? You saw me rapping to Eminem word for word on the dance floor. Perfect. Love that for me. You saw me taking the free shots off the girl at the bar because I made such a fuss for that. Okay, great. No, not then. In the DJ booth. Perfect. Love that for me. Love. Honestly, like if you see me in the car, right, and I'm walking, if you beep, I'm not turning around. Unless you were calling me saying, Sadie Maltby, hi, like, it's your auntie, or, you know, unless you're telling me first that it's safe for me to turn around, I'm not turning around. I'm just keeping walking. You could be beeping, honking, shouting. That's none of my business. The fear of turning around and you not actually shouting to me is enough to make me just run away. When I was younger, right, I was on the school bus. The fact this happened almost 20 years ago and I still remember it shows how embarrassing it was, right? There's a girl that I like kind of know at the bus stop and she waves and I'm like, oh, right, okay, I'm on the bus. I'm like, oh, okay. She's waving at me like, cool kid, like we haven't waved to each other before, but okay, guess I'm in the gang now. So I wave. At the same time that I wave, the girl in front of me waves. It was actually friends with her. I know full well she wasn't waving to me. And I'm still not over it. Too embarrassing. I've been scorned before and best believe it will never happen again. If you were waving at me now, you're probably just going to get this back. Just to be safe. Or you're going to get blanked. Unless you're waving and calling my name and being very specific about what you want and who you are, I can't face the level of embarrassment again. I'm sorry. So anyway, guys, there you are. Welcome. Just a little shout out as always. Please remember to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Give me a follow if you're watching on Spotify. Especially because on Spotify, on Instagram, like if I put the episode out late, if you follow me, you don't have to click a link. You can just open your Spotify and it'll just come up a little blue dot by my podcast, which just shows you when a new episode's out. So, you know, you don't get any crazy notifications. It just makes it very easy that I've got a new episode out and you don't have to wait for me to share a link or anything. I have actually got a question from one of you guys this week. And she said, okay, so here's the story. I was in Australia flying from Sydney to Melbourne and we were nearly bumped off the flight because of it being full. So these two guys let us go in front of them, which was super kind. Anyway, we get to the gate in the airport and they sat at the gate with their kids. The hot one had a daughter and the other guy had two sons. Anyway, my group were all sat on the floor playing cards, waiting for the flight, and a girl in the group asked the kids if they wanted to play because they were watching. They came and joined us and we were all playing cards. Cute. Anyway, I was briefly chatting to the hot one and didn't think much of it. We got on the plane and they were sat opposite us. Guys, there's no bigger tension than when you're on a flight with somebody you fancy. I've said it before, I'll say it again. When you're on a flight and there's a stranger and you're going to the same place and you're in that small confinement, I think, if anything, the plane and the altitude makes the person even hotter. For me, it's just so sexy. There's so much tension there. It's so exciting and it just feels like anything is possible. If you've got a crush on a plane, best thing ever, no? It hasn't happened to me for a long time, but when it does, it's very good times. Okay. We get on the plane and they were sat opposite us. His daughter tapped me on the shoulder and offered me some of her sweets, which was literally adorable. So cute. Also, if you're looking for a daddy, a zaddy, you know, amazing if you can get in with the kids. I kept seeing him look over, but thought it was just because we were being loud. Anyway, we get off the flight and they say bye as they walk past, and I can see him looking as he goes up the escalator. I love it. My group were all like, oh my God, this can't be where it ends. That's exactly what I would be like. I'd be like, this has to happen. I'd be like trying to get a number on a napkin in his back pocket or something. Oh my God. So they said, oh my God, you have to run after him. Oh my God, quick, run to the luggage belt. And I was just like, no, absolutely not happening. We then make our way to the luggage belt to get our stuff. And I couldn't believe it. Oh my God. His daughter comes up to us. I can't. What a move. Not that I'm saying he's a player, but there's no way that you were not messaging this man. His daughter comes up to us with a piece of paper and says, "Here's my dad's number if you need anything whilst you're here." Deceased, dead, done. Cuff me, wife me. I'm moving to Australia. I'm never returning home. Good day. Good day. No, good day. Good day, mate. Oh my God, that actually just made me cringe. And I deeply apologise for that. I don't know what got over me. I think I was just really excited. I never ever want to do that Australian accent ever again. Okay. My friends were all telling me to text him, but I couldn't bring myself to because I was thinking, what if he actually gave the number, oh my God, for sincere purposes of emergencies, and I'm texting him trying to hit him up. My friend, there ain't no way he's giving it to you for an actual emergency, unless that actual emergency means that he can come over to yours, or, you know, the emergency's at the restaurant and he needs to meet you there and have drinks afterwards. Like, come on now. I love the humbleness and like the fear, but there's no way. I also firmly believe that a man wouldn't even offer to help somebody or be friends with somebody unless they fancied you. That might be a bit of a sad outlook, but I said what I said. A couple of days later, we had a few to drink and I finally grew some balls and messaged him. I kept it simple and asked for bar recommendations. Nice. Fully thinking he wasn't going to reply. He got his daughter to go up to you and put his number on a piece of paper. The man is going to reply to you. He's interested. And I'm so excited about this. He literally replied seconds later with some recommendations and then followed up with, "Me and you should go for drinks." Annoyingly, it was my last night in Melbourne and I was on a trip until like 1 a.m. so I couldn't go. No. Oh, the sadness. Because, gals, I'm just going to say it, right? When you have a connection that you're very excited about, I think it's rare. I think, when's the last time I had an actual real crush? And I'm not talking about seeing somebody that you fancy. That's one thing. I'm talking about like actually seeing someone and speaking to them and really thinking, oh my God, I want to see you again. I actually want to go on a date with you again. Like, it's rare. So if you come across a situation halfway across the world where you see somebody, don't leave until the last night to message them. Because if they don't reply, you're never going to see them again. You're in Australia. Even if you're in London, you probably wouldn't see him again. When's the last time I saw somebody that I went on a date with? God forbid I see him later. Imagine me next week. But, you know, it happens. You can go on a date with somebody that literally lives in London and never bump into him again. I've got ex-boyfriends in London that I never ever see. Let's put our fears aside and let's make a move with these things. Okay, next message. He's been saying things like we should meet later in the year. It's better than being the one that got away. Love him. Me and him are on the same vibes. I'll try to visit Europe to see you later in the year. I know it sounds absolutely mental, but I'm actually torn between 1, oh my God, this is a terrible idea, and 2, do I just do it for the plot? I also thought he'd disappear once I was back in England, but he's still staying in touch. What do I do? Han, if somebody's offering to come and see you in Europe, take him up on it. Biggest thing for me is always safety. Like, I don't think you should go and share a hotel room with a guy. That's something I wouldn't do. So, like, what you could do is make a plan to see each other. Maybe you go with your friends, or maybe you say, like, look, I've booked a hotel just for the first night. Let's meet, you know, see what it's like. Although, is a man really flying across the world to kill somebody? I don't think so. I think if somebody is a killer, then they would just do it in their hometown, wouldn't they? I don't think they'd bother buying a flight for it. I don't know. God. Okay, I'm going to stop because I don't know. But for me, the only thing that stops me with that stuff, acting on that, is literally just safety. But if you haven't got that, and if you've got the gut feeling that he's like a decent, normal guy, then go for it. Because the worst thing that can happen, right, other than death, and I'm sorry to bring this anxiety onto you, but the worst thing that can happen is you go and you don't get on. And then you think, right, this isn't working. You fly home and it's a funny story and you've explored it. That is the worst thing that could happen. Or you get there and he's babied out and he hasn't turned up. Okay, well then you're in Europe by yourself having a little trip. That's fine. You're in Italy. You can have fun by yourself. I just think, why not? Say yes. Please do come to Europe. It's summer. The summer's coming, right? And it's winter in Australia. So it's the perfect timing because he's going to want to escape and have some sun. I see no issues, truly. I truly see no issues. And also, I was just reminded about my safety issues. I remember my friend, we lived together. I was actually in Belfast and I was waiting to get on the flight home and she rang me and she was going on a first date and she was like, oh, I was meant to be meeting him out, but he wants to come over and cook for me. And I was like, are you crazy? Absolutely not. Nobody's there. He's going to come over. He's going to kill you. Don't do that. Go to a bar. They are now engaged. She didn't have him over that night. She did actually stick and was like, no, I think we should go to the bar. But I'm just saying that I have these safety worries, but, you know, lots of the time, you'd probably be okay. I also know, do you remember, hopefully you won't mind me sharing the story. Do you remember Stu? We came on a podcast episode at least last year, maybe even the year before. He met a girl. I can't remember the logistics, but basically like went on a trip straight away with her. And that didn't work out well. They didn't get on. I think they had a really good date. And then spur of the moment, I think she was going on holidays. And they were like, oh my God, you should come, like book a flight and we should just go and have the trip together. And when you're having a really fun date. And he said like basically as soon as he got to the airport the next day, they both just knew it was a mistake and they weren't vibing. Because sometimes, you know, if you're on a really good first date, sometimes you're just pissed. That's happened before where you think you're having like the best time, but really you're just drunk and in good spirits. Anyway, didn't work out, but he has no regrets because he's tried it. There's nothing worse than living with regrets. So I say go for it. Tell him to book the trip. Make sure he books the ticket first. You know, get some proof of tickets before you start planning a trip. And as long as he's paying his way, I see no issues. How exciting. Please keep us posted. A little summer fling. A summer fling from a hottie halfway across the world. What perfect situation for you. Okay, so now I'm watching Kardashians again. I thought it was really interesting that Tristan graced his presence on the last episode I watched. I don't think I'm up to date. I used to think Tristan was so hot. Like, when Chloe got with him, I was like, oh my God, you've got like the hottest boyfriend out of all of them. After everything she went through with Lamar, I was like, wow, lucky you. So happy for you. I know she's a celebrity, guys. But, you know, really happy because I was like, this man is so hot. Oh, he came on the screen now. He obviously looks the same, but his actions have made him so ugly. It literally made me think of the Roald Dahl quote from the Twits. You know, and it's something like, it says, if a person has ugly thoughts, it begins to show on their face. And when that person has ugly thoughts every day, every week, every year, the face gets uglier and uglier until it gets so ugly you can hardly bear to look at it. That was me. His actions and what he did was so disgusting that now when I look at him, I'm like, oh, I pray that she feels the same way. But it is crazy how that can happen. How somebody can be so good looking, you know, and they look exactly the same, but because what they've done, they then just look like a different person to you. Yeah, and the quote Roald Dahl says is, a person who has good thoughts cannot ever be ugly. You can have a wonky nose and a crooked mouth and double chin and stick out teeth, but if you have good thoughts, they will shine out of your face like sunbeams and you will always look lovely, which is very, very true. Okay, guys, if you've got any stories or any dilemmas, if you want to share a bad date, anything that you've been up to, then please send them through to sadie@lovewhatluck.com, or like I said, you can DM me now. I'm at Sadie Maltby. oh, actually, guys, this feels more dramatic than it needs to be, but I'm also just aware that I need to tell you. I've decided that I'm just going to deactivate the podcast Instagram. So if you only follow me on there and you don't follow me on my personal, which is at Sadie Maltby, then please make sure to come and follow me on my personal page, and I'm just going to post the reels there. I just feel like having that extra page was just another way to make me feel like a failure. I've got like the YouTube, TikTok, Facebook page, and then there was like 2 Instagram accounts as well. Just felt like, well, not felt like, it feels like sometimes just too much to think about. So I thought we'd just trial it. I'm only going to deactivate it. I'm not going to be deleting it because I'm hoping eventually, obviously, we can grow bigger and then I can get some help and then, you know, we can have like a full page and brand. But for now, when it's just little old me, I've just got to, rein it in. And yeah, I'm just going to put it all on my personal page. So if you've got any questions or stories, or if you just want to chat, then DM me. I'm going to be at Sadie Maltby. You know, I had a therapy session last week. Yeah, it must have been last week when I was also like in the pits. And I knew I had taken it too far because at the end she said to me, "Thank you for being so honest with me today." And I was like, oh my God. You know, when your therapist thanks you for being that honest, you know you've taken it too far. Like, I was just word vomiting everything to her. I'm like low-key embarrassed. Usually I voice note my friends straight after it, and I like do a therapy dump. Because obviously she picks up tips and, you know, we talk about stuff forever. I voice noted it and I deleted it. I was like, I actually can't talk about it. She's like, oh, okay, you will when you're ready. No. I think my therapist caught me at a weak moment and I told her all my like deepest, craziest thoughts, and hopefully they'll never resurface again. Okay, guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you so much for listening. Please remember to follow and subscribe, and come and let me know what you guys thought of the episode, what you like to hear more of or less of. We're always trying to mix it up. I do feel like I'm trying few different things at the minute. So yeah, any feedback is appreciated. Just please be kind to me. Okay, thank you so much, guys, and I'll speak to you next week.